how do you get started? I mean, we've been talking about a lot of areas and how do you get started. Now, irrespective of the field you decide to specialize in security, these three areas are fundamental to your career in security. And the reason is because I always tell people there are no shortcuts to security, right? You may go out there and see people tell you you become a security engineer or become a cybersecurity expert in 6 months. Well, I'm sorry to break it to you. You cannot become an expert. You may become an expert in any other thing, but with security, nah, man, you can't become an expert in 6 months. Now you have to take it one step at a time, right? So anybody that sells you the pipe dream of becoming a security expert in 6 months, well, I would love to see you try, right? So good luck with that. Now, this is how you get into security. Three major things. You need to learn about IT and computers. You need to learn about them. Yes. You need to learn about things, like computer hardware, software, operating systems. This is where you also learn troubleshooting, right? So you need to learn about IT, you need to learn about computers. The reason is because cybersecurity builds on this foundational knowledge, right? You cannot protect what you don't understand. If you don't know how your computer works, I mean, knowing how a computer works goes beyond having a computer, using it to join meetings, using it to type documents and all of that, right? When your computer breaks, do you understand why it's broke? Do you understand why the computer you have is slow, right? These are fundamental things you need to understand before you jump into security. You need to learn about operating systems, Windows, Linux, Mac operating systems. You need to understand them. When issues happen, can you troubleshoot? Can you diagnose what the issue is, right? These are things you need to understand. Again, you cannot protect what you don't understand. So that is why you need to learn about IT. You need to learn about computing. You need to have this foundational knowledge to get into security. Now, another thing you need to learn is networking. I mean, most cyber attacks or most of what you're going to have, most issues you're going to experience in security is going to happen over the network. There is an old saying that the only computer that is secure is one that is disconnected from the internet, which is unplugged from the network, shut down, and locked away in a bunker. That is the only secure computer. One that is disconnected from the internet, which is disconnected from the network, shut down, and locked away in the bunker. Is it secure by doing that? Yes, it is secure. But is it usable? No, it's not usable. Because how are you going to use it if it's locked in a bunker, right? So you need to learn networking.
Message.
Now, in networking, you're going to understand things like protocols, right? You're going to understand things like ports. You're going to understand firewalls, IP addresses. When you see an IP address, what does it mean, right? You're going to see things like USI model. You're going to hear stuff like DNS in the course of your cybersecurity career. You're going to hear things like HTTP, HTTPS. Many of these things, you're going to use them in your day-to-day activities. You're going to see most of these things in your day-to-day activity. So you need to learn networking, right? Networking is something we call life of a packet. What happens when you type www.google.com into your browser? Do you know what happens in the back end? Do you know how that domain name that you've typed google.com gets resolved to an IP address? Do you know how the domain name system does its name resolution? Do you know how your packets, that request you made, is routed over the internet from one router to the other using BGP until it gets to the server of Google, and then you get a response? All of these things are what networking will give you an understanding. So when things break and when things are not working in course of a cybersecurity career, you know how to troubleshoot them because you have these fundamental understandings. Now, after you've learned about IT and computers and you've learned networking, learn security fundamentals, right? With security fundamentals, you're going to learn about, vulnerabilities, threats, the types of attacks. You're going to learn about the CIA triad, which I mentioned at the start of this course. You're going to learn about cryptography. You're going to learn about a whole lot of stuff. So these are the three foundational steps of getting into security. Learn about IT and computers, learn about networking, and then learn security fundamentals. We're rounding off soon. So now, what are the resources? I know you're going to need resources, right? Now, disclaimer, this is a non-exhaustive list, and I'm going to give you only resources which I have tried and tested and maybe trusted. So these are the ways you can, these are the resources you learn or you use rather to learn about IT and computer fundamentals. There is a popular certification, the CompTIA A plus certification. Now, notice I wrote outline here. I didn't say the certification, right? Look at the outline, look at what is required of you. Then if you go on YouTube, I'm going to share the URLs at the end of maybe by today or tomorrow to the group. So you're going to see the URLs and then so that you'd go directly to the resource. There's a man on YouTube, God bless him, who has done a very, very great service to a lot of people. He's Professor Mesa. So you can go through his A plus course. It's a YouTube playlist. You learn about computer and fundamentals. So everything it covers in this course prepares people for the CompTIA A plus certification, which is more or less a technical support certification guide where you learn about computers, operating systems, hard drives. You're going to learn about kernels and all of that stuff. Then there's another course I would always recommend to learn about IT and computer fundamentals. It's the Google IT Support Professional course. Now, this is one of the courses I took when I was trying to get back into IT after I left my job as a petroleum engineer. So this was the course I took. Now, I think it's a 6 months course, if my memory serves me right, because it's been a very long time. It used to be a 6 months course. It's offered by Google, but it's on Coursera. So I think Coursera has this thing where you have to apply for financial aid because most of these courses are paid. But if you apply for financial aid, you just write why you need them to sponsor you. They always give it to you. I applied for financial aid in my time and I got it. I did this course for free. I didn't have to pay a dime. So yeah, it's a 6 months course, but I did it in a month or less. The reason is because again, I had I have a background in computer science, right? I was just away from the IT field for a year and a half. So I needed to take the course as a refresher just to get my feet back up. So I did it in 1 month, does not mean you may do it in 1 month, right? So if you've had a background in IT, of course, you can finish it in even 2, 3 weeks. There are people who have done that. But ideally, it's a 6 months course. And yeah, so that course is also important. Then there's a popular platform called TryHackMe. You can take the pre-security learning parts. TryHackMe is a website which you can visit and look at all the learning parts there. The pre-security learning part introduces you to operating systems, I think mostly Windows and Linux. You see common attack types. You see things about networking basics. So you learn all those things there. So these are the resources for IT fundamentals. For networking, CompTIA also has a very, very brilliant course on N plus, Network Plus. And Professor Mesa again saves the day by making a YouTube playlist for CompTIA Network Plus. So you can check out the YouTube playlist. Cisco, my dearly beloved Cisco, they are the biggest players in the networking space. So they have a network academy, Cisco Networking Academy. You can go check out their networking basics course. I think it's a career path if my memory serves me right. So they've done a pretty solid job to teach you networking. I mean, who better to teach you networking than Cisco themselves, right? So yeah, you can check that out. I'll try Hackney pre-security learning part as well. If you check the pre-security learning part, it talks about networking there. So you can use that to learn. And then finally, resources for security fundamentals. Yeah, CompTIA again, you're going to see a lot of CompTIA here. CompTIA again has a Security Plus certification. Now, With the way the job market is structured in the world generally, CompTIA Security Plus is a very valuable certification, I must tell you. It's very valuable. So it's expensive, but it's valuable. So at this point, you decide to take a Security Plus certification, right? Maybe next week when we meet, I'll just tell you about how you can what kind of certifications to get, how to apply for jobs, and what to look out for in job ads. I'll attend to your questions. Don't worry. I see your message at the ago, right? So yeah, CompTIA has a Security Plus certification outline. Use this outline to learn about security, right? It talks about the CIA triad there. It talks about encryption for confidentiality. It talks about integrity, hashing algorithms. It talks about cryptography. It talks about risk, vulnerabilities, what threats. It talks about disaster recovery. It talks about compliance. It talks about, I've mentioned risk. It talks about a whole lot of stuff. So the CompTIA Security Plus is usually the foundation certification people get to enter security. Again, Professor Mesa has made a brilliant course. I think the current certification code is 701 for Security Plus. So he has a YouTube playlist on Security Plus. And Cisco Networking Academy again has a junior cybersecurity analyst learning part. It's on Cisco Networking Academy website. So there's a junior network analyst part. In that part, it introduces you to a lot of concepts that you would use or you can use to actually get solid and get a job in security and break into security ultimately. TryHackMe has a cybersecurity 101 learning part, which you can use as well to get into security. And recently, I mean, I haven't taken this course, the Google Cybersecurity Professional Certificate course, but I've seen a lot of reviews. I've seen a lot of people who have taken this course. And yes, I mean, um, it kind of provides a good fundamental for people to also get into security. Again, this is a non-exhaustive list, which means there are many more resources out there. But the thing with security is if you overwhelm yourself with resources, you will never get started, right? So what do I say? Pick one resource, stick with it. Now, I've talked about CompTIA, I've talked about Professor Mesa. If you decide to stick with Professor Mesa for his A plus, N plus, and Security plus, you're good. If you decide to stick with TryHackMe for three of them, you're good. If you decide to stick with Cisco Networking Academy, you're good. So all of these are resources. I'll attend to your questions, don't worry. Finally, what's next? Now you've heard about the courses, you've heard about resources, we've talked about how to get into security. What's next? One, after you've gotten through your networking fundamentals, your computer fundamentals, and your security fundamentals, you're going to have to pick a specialty, right? You're going to have to specialize. Cybersecurity is broad. Is it possible to have multiple specialties? Of course, but you can't have multiple specialties all at once. Pick one, become good at it, master it, and then move on to the next. And you find out that with security, there are a lot of you find out that with security, there are a lot of things that are interwoven, right? So you see when you're doing application security, you will see things that, or when you're doing cloud security and you're trying to specialize also in application security, you will see things that you learned from application security that are also useful in cloud security. So you pick one, specialize before moving to the next. What other thing can you do? Practice lab every day. I mean, I used to hear this lab every day concept when I was doing networking, right? And you have to lab every day. Now, there's one important detail I missed. I also hear when people talk about wanting to get into networking or starting a career in security. And then I tell them everything you need is provided in Packet Tracer. Cisco has a tool, it's a network simulation tool called Packet Tracer, right? Packet Tracer simulates a real world environment. It simulates a live router. It simulates a live switch. So when you practice and do configurations and build complex architectures on Packet Tracer, when you eventually get your hands on the real world equipment, you're going to do just fine. I moved from using packet tracer to configuring a live switch that served thousands of people. And I was not afraid. I did not fidget. Why? Because I had used packet tracer. I can just be sleeping, or I can just think of an architecture, and then next thing I'm on my laptop, I've opened packet tracer, I've created the architecture, I've configured it from ground up. So when I had got my hands on a real world device, I was not scared. I just assumed it was my packet tracer environment and I did it. These are one of the advantages you get by practicing and labbing every day. You want to be a penetration tester? Fine. Keep practicing, keep breaking machines, have virtual machines, keep trying to break into them, get an Active Directory environment, get a domain controller, try to break the domain controller, try to do all of these things. These are things when you do every day, it gives you experience, right? And finally, stay updated, stay up to date and network. Engage with cybersecurity communities, stay on top of the industry changes. There are a lot of cybersecurity communities on Twitter. I mean, I can speak for Twitter because I use Twitter most times, but I barely tweet about security, to be honest. I just want to have fun and laugh on Twitter. But yeah, there are a lot of people. I mean, it's X now, right? So there are a lot of cybersecurity communities, there are a lot of people. So just stay up to date, attend cybersecurity events, listen to cybersecurity podcasts, you know, watch technical presentations, read white papers, watch videos on YouTube, watch presentations from top cybersecurity people online, and that's how you stay up to date on with cybersecurity. Yeah, I think I've done a lot of talking for nearly an hour, so let me go to the messages and see comments. Oh, Lumo says your career story is mind blowing. Yeah, I mean, I have a mind blowing career story, right? Moved from networking, from petroleum engineer, came back to IT and started ground up. I started as an IT support guy, became a network engineer. While a network engineer, I was doing cloud. I was also, breaking servers, and then I eventually got into security. So transferable skills all true. And yeah, okay, I go said I've started learning IT and computers, software and hardware. I was lazy about learning. Cybersecurity roadmap is interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think I mean, it's good you started learning IT, computer, software and hardware. I mean, it's pretty good because all of this provides the foundation to get into security. Because again, and for the umpteenth time, you cannot secure what you don't understand. So, I mean, you're on the right track. Keep at it. You're doing amazing. Product, okay, that's the dual. Is Try Hack Me YouTube channel? No, Try Hack Me is on a YouTube channel. Try Hack Me is a website. Just Google Try Hack Me. It's a website where you can just go in and see a lot of resources. They provide some virtual machines for you, but most of those virtual machines are timed, or yeah. So if you don't have a premium subscription, then you have to use the 1 hour free for a day. I can't remember the exact time, but I mean, if you get to Try Hack Me, you'll find all the information you need there. Please, is the certification free or paid? So there's a difference between a certificate and a certification, right? I think this is one of the mistakes people make in cybersecurity as well. I think I'll have to touch on that next week when we're talking about interview preparation tips and everything. So certifications are widely recognized and they are provided by industries, organizations of reputation, of repute in the industry. So certifications are never free. Well, they can be free if somebody sponsors it or there's a body that decides to give it free for people. But it's not free. CompTIA certifications are expensive. Cisco certifications are expensive as well. Yeah, I mean they're expensive to be honest. Let me not even let me not say they're affordable. They're expensive. I can't remember how much Security Plus certification costs. But I mean, if you do a Google search, you'll be able to find how much it costs. I can't remember it off the top of my head. So yeah, I hope I answered your question, Ituru. So certificates, yes, when you do the Google certificates um, from Coursera, you're going to get a certificate for it. But mind you, it's not a certification. It provides or it gives you a certificate to attest that yes, you've gone through this training, you've understood fundamentals, but you did not test your skills in them, right? So certifications oftentimes that trust mark of skill, essentially. So I'm a beginner. From what I've heard, I love cloud security as well as network security. Can I do both and be an expert? Yes, you can do both. Can you be an expert at both? It depends. It depends, to be honest. So you love cloud security. Cloud security is interesting. I love it as well. You love network security. Network security is good. Can you be an expert at both? I think you can become an expert at both, to be honest. I mean, there are people who have 4 PhDs, 5 PhDs, right? So why not? You can become an expert at both of them if you decide that's what you want to do. But the best advice is start with one, be good at it, be a master at it, specialize on it, and then move on to the next, right? I would advise you to start with network security because the concept you learn in network security, when you move to the cloud, it builds upon that principle. Remember, the cloud is just interconnected devices, right? So the knowledge you have from network security is going to help you with cloud security a lot. When it comes to choosing a specialty, what's the best for a junior cybersecurity person, I believe? Um, I can't say what the best is, to be honest, right? The best is going to be determined by your interests and your interests, basically, your interests. So when you want to choose a career, what I've seen in the course of my career is a lot of junior people start from SOC. SOC is Security Operations Center. They eat logs for a living. They digest logs for a living, right? So I don't know, Adewale, I can't share my screen anymore, but yeah, I'm rounding off. So yeah, so a lot of junior people start with Security Operations Center because that's the field that most people train you for, and it has a very low entry barrier. So you get in, you sit behind a big screen all day, looking at logs and looking at based on rules, looking at triggers. Oh, you spot something. There's a brute force attempt happening. There is this happening. There's a DDoS attack somewhere. You're investigating alerts essentially. So most junior people start from SOC, but it does not mean you can also it does not mean other people don't start from other areas. There are a lot of people that I know that have started with penetration testing. There are a lot of people who have started with application security. There are a lot of people who have started also with cloud security. There are a lot of people who have started with GRC too. So any field you want to start with, it all depends on you. Which one interests you? Right. So yeah, how do we get these certifications? It's pretty simple. If you want to get certifications, you go to the website, register for the certification, prepare for it. When it's time for your exam, you write it, you pass, you become certified. Straightforward. But you have to prepare extensively for certifications. Don't join the bandwagon of people saying, I sat for this certification in 1 week.